Lovely intro there, thank you. It's quite easy to pull me away from Middlesbrough, to be honest. It's not that much of a task. I don't know if anyone's been there, but yeah, not the most amazing place. Good digital sector though. Yeah, today, thanks for coming everyone. I want to talk about the new world of meta advertising and content as well. Obviously, we've got to get a little bit creative with it as well. Just to give you a bit of a rundown of my background and what I've done. Where I am, I am where I am today. Essentially, started out as an apprentice and got sacked. It was Google Ads, and I absolutely hated it. A big lack of creativity for me there. Don't know if anyone's done designs on Google Ads back in the day, probably like 6 years ago. But you used to have to fit like designs into like a banner that was about 270 pixels by 90. Just didn't sit very well with me. Made redundant from a design and marketing role. Thought I'll switch it up. I'll do something creative. Got made redundant, so I'm off to a great start here. Moved on to do social media. It was my first ever stint of doing social. That's also where I met my partner Beth. And it was all a bit of a whirlwind from that point because we got a taste for the creative world and social media. Perfect balance for me between performance and data as well as creative. And a week before my paternity leave was about to start with our first baby together, I decided that would be a good time to leave my job because we hated it, it was terrible. We gained a lot of good experience though, and it's all kind of built into what we've done now. We founded CB Social. Any guesses as to what the name is when my name's Callum and my partner's called Beth? Yeah, pretty creative that, isn't it? Yeah, and we started that just because we knew what we could give to companies. It was a lot more in depth. We could put our own spin on things. We weren't so restricted. And essentially what we are is social only. We don't do any other type of marketing. We just stick with all the social channels. And we are kind of a creative agency as well now, which kind of Meta forced us to do. These are just a few of the brands that we've had the pleasure of working with. We've only been running for 3 years. They're, like for me, at 26 as well, very new to the world of business and doing social campaigns in reality compared to probably a lot of people in this room. So yeah, just blow my own trumpet a bit there, but you know, show of hands, who's heard of UGC? Everyone should have their hands up there, or you must have been on your phone while Dave's presentation was on, because obviously he had a good chat about that. Who currently works with the Meta platforms? Anyone use Meta? We've got a shaky thing there. That leads on to what I'm going to ask next is, who likes working with the Meta platforms? Yeah, I'm not putting my hand up either. Let's go back in time anyway. So, pre-iOS 14, that word gives me nightmares, iOS 14. Obviously, a lot of stuff changed. I'm assuming everyone's aware. Anyone not really aware of what happened after the iOS 14 update with tracking and stuff? Don't be afraid to put your hands up. No? Basically, everything went to pot. So, with social, it used to be, before iOS 14, it was hyper-focused, sort of interest targeting. You know, if I wanted to sell a pair of Nike shoes, it's like, right, I need to target anyone who likes JD Sports, Foot Asylum. You knew exactly who your customer was. Attributed results were through the roof, literally. Amazing. And, you know, all in all, it was an easier life. The new world of meta advertising is quite broad, generic targeting. You've got to put a lot of trust in the Meta platform to do the targeting for you. Less attributed results. That's kind of getting better now. It's improving. And there's a heavy focus now on creative and formats, which is fun, but also challenging when you're a social agency. Your job is to create campaigns, and it is to be creative as well, but it's never been this... It's never been this important, essentially. So just to quickly run through what's actually changed, I'm not going to go through every single one of these points, but I think what a lot of people forget is that when you advertise on Facebook and Instagram, you're putting your ad into an auction. I think a lot of people forget that. Google has an auction, everyone knows about that. Not a lot of people know that Facebook has its own auction. Your ads go up there against other businesses, and there's a lot of elements that they'll be looking at, engaging where your ad goes to and what kind of audience you'll hit. So it's things like your budget, what your creative's like, similar to how Dave mentioned on TikTok. If you're creating ads instead of TikToks, they don't want that, and that's the same with Facebook. Their end goal and their only real goal is to get new people on the platform and keep them on there for as long as possible. If your content isn't helping them do that, and your ad isn't helping them do that, you're going to end up being on the back foot when it comes to going in the auction. You'll get a sort of lower quality chunk of that audience that you're going for. In terms of the don'ts and the do's, it's obviously just mirrored, but essentially what you need to be doing at the moment is kind of opening the doors to go broad with your targeting. Test all creatives and angles. Don't write anything off, but definitely start testing some new stuff. Utilise as many features within the platform as you can as well. There's a lot of changes that they're kind of forcing upon people, especially with like targeting and creatives, and they're doing that for a reason, because they know how to get to the people that you want to get to. Essentially, it used to be, oh yeah, I know who I'm going to target, I know exactly who I want, here's the audience, and Facebook are kind of taking that away from you now. Here's a little analogy. Think of Meta like a powerful gun, all right? And your ammunition used to be your audiences. Now it's creatives. The better the creatives and the more you test, the better chance you'll find something that's going to make someone convert. There was definitely a better way to say that, I reckon, in the current time. So yeah, we'll move on from that. So what are we doing now? Again, going back to the way that we used to work, we used to be a marketing agency that would come along, we'd create some content in-house, but mainly when it comes to video, we'd be like, what have you guys got? Because we don't have anything. We haven't got a clue. And the way that's had to change now is we'd give briefs out to businesses that we'd work with, and the stuff that they would deliver, let's just say it fell short. You know, we wanted like really cool, snappy UGC, looking like it's come from a customer. We'd get Steve in the warehouse filming landscape, opening boxes of stuff, and the video was 1 minute 30 seconds, and that's, you know, yeah, not even worth running as an ad. It's throwing money down the drain. So yeah, we've kind of changed into an agency that kind of leads now. We're creating social first content, which is something we've never done before. In the last 3 months, we've probably created more UGC for our clients than we have in the last 2 years since starting the agency. So quite a lot of content. Here's some of the changes that we're seeing our end. I wanted to sort of give some direct examples. Quite a lot of these are e-com focused, but we're definitely seeing a similar trend, whether it's a sort of lead generation business or B2B as well. This is like an example of a company, and they've done a studio shot of some socks. Just as just to look through the numbers, you know, spent 28 quid, 2 purchases, £69 in revenue, return I'd spend of 2.4. They're not changing the world. The owner's not bouncing all over saying she's a millionaire. Compare that with a video that we did on the table and laid some sort of boucle cloth thing, whatever Beth set it up. She's kind of leading like some of our content as well as I am. And we unboxed, basically, or unbagged, I would say, the products on the table. And the difference in the spend, first of all, because Meta clearly prioritised that with an extra £100 spend, and that was kind of like a really small, short burst of a test with a lower budget just to see what was really happening. A lot more purchases, well, 5 more. The average order value also went up, and you could argue that on this photo, it was just a pair of socks in a studio. This photo, we showed probably 4 or 5 items that equated to the amount of about 250 quid. So you get a lot more in there for a short space of time in that video. You're showing people a bit of a realistic sort of experience that they're also going to have, because they're going to get a bag like this, a sort of really cool like little dust bag. They're going to unbox them products and unpackage them and see what they look like and lay them out for the kids. And yeah, return on ad spend, an extra sort of £5 and 68 pence per £1 spent. So it's a massive improvement. We then branched that out across our organic content as well that we were creating for clients. Before we came in, they had like 8-minute reels of like a woman doing nails, and she's a fantastic nail artist and stuff, but she was talking for 8 minutes and like going through all these steps. And I think at one point it says here, you've got to hold your hand under an LED light for 30 seconds to cure some of the nail product, and it actually left it running for the 30 seconds of the nails curing. I was like, that did not need to be left in. There's no way. Like, I would have swiped, well, I don't know, I'm not watching nail content really anyway, so I would have swiped well before that. But yeah, you can see a massive difference in the engagement there. This is all purely organic, by the way. We came in and basically selected a trending song, and you see the massive difference in views, 3,000 views on the longer form content that was shot with a professional camera in a studio, 63 likes and a comment. The other one, on the other hand, 36,000 views, 400 likes. They paid nothing for that. It's perfect engagement organically, building a good community as a brand, and also developing and strengthening the audiences we can use to target on ads as well. So really good, a really good example there. Sorry, and the client was really happy with that, and now that's kind of an ongoing thing. Final example: cost per purchase of £66, a return on ad spend of £5.58. That's actually not bad. You know, that's around about close to where they're aiming at, and that is a CGI creative, which looks amazing. But I don't know about any of you in this room. When I look in my bathroom, that is not the view that I see. I would love that, but it's not, unfortunately. Compared to this, which is like, you know, that first one's breathtaking, unbelievable photo, product looks amazing. Compared to the next photo, you'd be thinking, it looks like, you know, the local bathroom fitters just took a photo and shared it with his friends. But in a weird way, that's kind of why it works, because it just looks like that's one of your friends, a family member. Your mum's just got a new bathroom and she's put that on Facebook and she's absolutely buzzing. She's got loads of engagement. But in reality, as an ad, that works way better because it's just realistic. It's more, you can relate to that more. And going back to some of the points in Dave's slides, it blends in with the platform because it just looks like content that, again, your friends and your family are sharing. So it seamlessly kind of slips in where it's not necessarily standing out, but because it fits in, it stops you from scrolling because it doesn't look like an ad you're not being sold to. And that, you know, resulted in a cost per purchase drop of 57 quid. So it's costing them £57 less to get purchases using that creative versus this really clean, highly polished CGI creative, which probably costs them a fair amount of money. This one, we just said, hiya, we seen you've ordered a few things. Can you get a photo for us? She said, yeah. What am I going to get for it? 50 quid voucher. All right then, nice one. And then that's what we've got. Good return on ad spend on that one. We've only had that client for 2 weeks as well. So another client who came in and were like, yeah, really high quality products. We want them in like hotels and stuff, you know, it needs to be really high end customers. And then we came to them and said, can we run that as an ad? And like, I've never seen a more awkward face in my life. But obviously the numbers speak for themselves. So it's really good when that happens to sort of prove to a client that, you know, what we're doing is working. Here's a little example of what we were creating for a quite a high-end chocolate client. They've never seen this video. I think they did. If they did, sorry, they'd have a heart attack at that setup compared to what they normally do when they've got really high professional shots. These are stocked in like Selfridges. If they saw this video, I think they would cancel the contract with us. So please don't record this if anyone's got the phones out. I don't know if it's going to play, actually. I've set it to automatically play, so I'm just going to blame Mike for this. Basically, it's like that, what you see there is like a dust sheet or something that we found in the office and then put it on a desk with like a piece of slate and just started recording some of their coffee-infused chocolates with a few coffee beans around it. Just the most raggedy setup ever. Looks terrible, but the end product was pretty decent. It did look like user-generated content still, it wasn't amazing. But it balanced that professional kind of finish because it was on iPhone. But again, you could tell it wasn't in Selfridges. It wasn't an amazingly professional shot. But again, more relatable. This bit's a little bit boring, but just an example of what a campaign structure used to look like. It'd be quite, you delve down into all your different audiences and you'd be sort of splitting everything out really intricately and testing as much as you can. These days, it's, right, bang an audience in. I just want to target men and women in the UK of any age whatsoever. And here's my creatives. Do as you will with that, please, Facebook and Instagram. And they kind of crack on and find your customers for you. What we recommend, so don't be afraid to go broad with targeting. So even if you're in B2B, your e-com or your business is looking for somebody and you think you know who your customer is, if you're advertising on Facebook and Instagram, what you need to be doing right now is giving it something to work with. You need to play ball with them. What they're saying is, look, we know where your customers are. We know who you're trying to target. Give us some creatives to work with to test, some different formats. We'll find them for you. We'll show you with results and you can optimize from there. So go broad with your targeting. You know, again, if you're doing a localized targeting or nationwide, many of the campaigns in our accounts at the moment that are the top performers are just broad. It is 18 to 65 plus, men and women, absolutely no targeting whatsoever. But then we load that with about 6 to 8 creatives of all different formats, and you can find 2 or 3 that stand out. And from there, you've got your blueprint of what you need to be creating moving forward. Again, some of the stuff that I just touched on before, utilising some of Meta's automatic enhancements. There's a reason that they're putting stuff in place to push you away from really direct targeting, is because they know that this broad stuff works better. And right now, they're kind of pushing you there gently. There's going to be a point where you're going to need to embrace it because there's no other option to do so. Focus on testing creative styles, formats and angles. So different hooks, different video styles, just really go wild with it. Again, touching on Dave's stuff, a lot of inspiration there. I feel like half my slide deck is based on Dave's stuff. But yeah, it's the brand guidelines and stuff, try and stay away from that, go wild with it and just do something that really stands out. If you're not already, test UGC, even if you're in the B2B or the professional world. At the end of the day, we're all humans, we're all sat on social media, which for me is quite a passive, informal place as it is. Getting hit on there with a really professional ad, for me, it doesn't work as effectively personally. So if you were to do some sort of UGC, I think that would resonate pretty well with me and a lot of other people in the room. That's it for mine. Short and sweet. That's how I like it. I definitely didn't want to do it too long. Also, I reckon I'm maybe the first person in the country to put a thread handle on their presentation. So obviously we are social first, you know what I mean? So we couldn't leave that out. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I share most of my stuff. You probably will end up unconnecting with me because I'm on it all the time. I'm annoying. But yeah, connect with me. If you've got time at the end, come and grab me if you've got a question. Or does anyone have any questions now? Oh, we don't do that, do we? We'll go straight on to the next one. No, it's all good. Yeah, grab us at the end if you have any questions.